Gunshots echo through Terminal 3. A wounded Navy SEAL collapses at Gate 47, bleeding out on the airport floor. Terrorists have just stormed the terminal. Civilians are screaming and running for their lives. But the businesswoman boarding Flight 847 to Chicago drops her briefcase and starts moving her hands like she's done this 1,000 times before. What happens next will change everything you thought you knew about who saves lives when death comes calling. It's 6:15 p.m. at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. Flight 847 to Chicago has been delayed twice, and the departure gate is packed with frustrated business travelers who just want to get home after another exhausting week in the nation's capital. Dr. Emily Chen sits quietly in seat 14C of the departure area, reviewing medical journals on her tablet while waiting for the boarding announcement. To everyone around her, she's just another consultant heading home from a government contract meeting. The kind of woman who carries expensive luggage and wears business suits that cost more than most people make in a month. What they don't know is that Dr. Emily Chen just spent 3 days briefing Pentagon officials on battlefield trauma protocols. What they don't know is that before she became a civilian emergency medicine specialist, she spent 6 years as a Navy combat medic attached to SEAL team operations in Afghanistan and Iraq. What they don't know is that the medical journal she's reading contains her own research on treating gunshot wounds in hostile environments. The first gunshot sounds like a car backfiring. Most passengers don't even look up from their phones. Emily's head snaps toward the sound with the kind of instant alertness that comes from years of training in environments where the difference between a car backfire and incoming fire means the difference between life and death. The second and third gunshots make it clear this isn't a car. Panic explodes through Terminal 3 like a wildfire. Passengers screaming, airport security shouting orders, the electronic departure boards flickering as emergency protocols activate throughout the building. In the chaos, nobody notices the man in blood-soaked tactical gear who staggers through the departure gate and collapses 15 feet from where Emily is sitting. Nobody except Emily. Petty Officer First Class Marcus Webb, Navy SEAL Team 6, has been shot 4 times during a classified operation that went wrong in ways the American public will never know about. Chest wound, abdominal wound, thigh wound that's severing his femoral artery. He's got maybe 3 minutes before blood loss puts him into irreversible shock. While everyone else runs away from the gunfire, Dr. Emily Chen runs toward the dying man. "Sir, can you hear me?" Her voice cuts through the chaos with the kind of calm authority that makes people stop panicking and start listening. "I'm a doctor. I'm going to help you." Webb's eyes flutter open, unfocused and fading. He tries to speak but only manages to cough blood onto the airport carpet that's rapidly turning red beneath him. Emily's hands are already moving with the precision of someone who's performed battlefield trauma surgery in conditions that would paralyze most doctors. Pressure on the chest wound to control bleeding. Quick assessment of the abdominal injury to determine if there's internal hemorrhaging. Tactical tourniquets from her briefcase are the kind of equipment that most civilian doctors don't carry but combat medics never travel without. "I need everyone to back up and give me room to work," she shouts to the crowd of passengers who are torn between fleeing the terminal and watching the medical drama unfolding in front of Gate 47. An airport security guard approaches, weapon drawn, scanning for threats. "Ma'am, we need to evacuate this area immediately. There are active shooters in the terminal." "Not until I stabilize this patient." Emily doesn't look up from Webb's wounds. Her hands are covered in blood, but her movements are steady and confident. This man is a Navy SEAL who's been shot multiple times. He needs immediate surgical intervention or he's going to die in the next 2 minutes. "Ma'am, I understand, but..." "Officer, look at his gear." For the first time, Emily's voice carries an edge of command that makes the security guard actually focus on what she's telling him. This isn't a civilian casualty. This is military personnel involved in an operation that just went catastrophically wrong. Which means the shooters in this terminal aren't random terrorists. Webb's tactical vest bears insignia that make the security guard's face go white. SEAL Team 6, the kind of unit that doesn't operate on American soil unless something has gone very wrong with national security. Emily's assessment of Webb's injuries reveals details that turn a confusing airport shooting into something much more serious. The bullets that hit him aren't standard ammunition. They're armor-piercing rounds designed to penetrate military body armor. The pattern of wounds suggests he was shot at close range by someone who knew exactly where to aim to defeat SEAL protective equipment. Officer, I need you to get on your radio and contact the FBI immediately. This man wasn't shot by random terrorists. He was shot by someone with military training who knew exactly what they were doing. While Emily works to keep Webb alive, her combat medical training reveals information that changes everything about the situation unfolding in Terminal 3. The tactical gear Webb is wearing shows signs of chemical residue that shouldn't exist unless he was involved in an operation targeting weapons of mass destruction. His radio earpiece is tuned to frequencies that are only used for counterterrorism operations on American soil. Jesus Christ, Webb whispers, his voice barely audible above the continuing chaos in the terminal. Doctor. They got the package. What package? Emily continues working on his wounds, but her tone has shifted to something more urgent. What operation were you running? Dirty bomb. Pentagon intelligence. Russian sleeper cell. Webb's words come in fragments between labored breaths. They're going to Washington, D.C. tonight. Emily's blood runs cold. A dirty bomb attack on the nation's capital. Russian operatives who've been embedded in American society for years, activated for a terrorist attack that would make 9/11 look like a minor incident. And the only man who knows the details of their plan is bleeding out on an airport floor while the perpetrators escape in the chaos they've created. But Dr. Emily Chen isn't just a civilian emergency medicine specialist. For 6 years, she was the combat medic who kept SEAL team operators alive during the most dangerous missions in American military history. The woman who performed emergency surgery in Afghan caves while under enemy fire. The doctor who saved more lives in combat conditions than most people save in entire civilian careers. Webb, I need details. How many operatives? What's their target? When is the attack happening? 4 Russians. They have the device. Webb's voice is getting weaker, but Emily's medical intervention is keeping him conscious long enough to provide critical intelligence. Federal building. Rush hour tomorrow. Millions of people. Emily realizes that Webb isn't just a wounded SEAL who needs medical attention. He's the only source of intelligence that can prevent a terrorist attack that would kill hundreds of thousands of Americans. Keeping him alive isn't just about medical ethics anymore. It's about national security. Her briefcase contains more than just civilian medical supplies. Emergency surgical equipment that she's carried since leaving military service, just in case she ever found herself in a situation where her combat medical training was the difference between life and death. Battlefield blood transfusion kits, military-grade antibiotics, surgical instruments designed to function in conditions where traditional medical care isn't available. Officer, I need you to clear me a sterile workspace. Now, this man has intelligence about an imminent terrorist attack, and I need to stabilize him enough to communicate with federal authorities. The security guard looks around the chaotic terminal, where gunfire is still echoing from other concourses and emergency responders are struggling to coordinate their response to what they think is a random terrorist attack. Ma'am, how do I know you're qualified to? Emily pulls out her military medical credentials and identification that she still carries despite being civilian personnel. Dr. Emily Chen, Major, United States Navy Medical Corps, Combat Medical Specialist, 6 years of service with Naval Special Warfare Units. Emergency medicine qualifications that include battlefield surgery, trauma care under fire, and counterterrorism medical support. Major Chen. The security guard's voice reflects new understanding. What do you need? I need direct communication with FBI counterterrorism. I need emergency medical evacuation for this patient. And I need someone to coordinate with Pentagon intelligence because what just happened here isn't a random airport shooting. Emily's hands continue working on Webb's wounds while her mind processes the larger implications of what she's learned. Russian sleeper operatives. A dirty bomb attack planned for tomorrow. A SEAL team operation that was apparently compromised from the inside, allowing the terrorists to escape with a weapon of mass destruction. Webb grabs her arm with what little strength he has left. Doctor. There's more. Mole in the Pentagon. Someone gave them our operation details. The pieces start falling into place for Emily. The SEAL team operation wasn't just compromised. It was betrayed by someone with access to classified intelligence about counterterrorism activities. Someone who knew exactly when and where Webb's team would intercept the dirty bomb. and who arranged for the terrorists to be waiting with superior firepower and tactical advantage. Webb, who else knew about your operation? Only 4 people had access. Pentagon officials. One of them, he can't finish the sentence, but Emily understands the implication. A Pentagon official with access to SEAL team operations has been providing intelligence to Russian terrorists. The dirty bomb attack on Washington, D.C. tomorrow is just the beginning of a larger plan that involves American government officials committing treason at the highest levels. Emily's radio crackles with communication from FBI counterterrorism agents who are finally beginning to understand that the airport shooting was a diversion to cover the escape of terrorists carrying a weapon of mass destruction. Major Chen, this is Agent Sarah Williams, FBI counterterrorism. We're en route to your location. Can you provide a status update on the wounded SEAL? Agent Williams, I've stabilized the patient enough for medical evacuation, but we have a bigger problem. He's provided intelligence about an imminent dirty bomb attack on Washington, D.C., and there's evidence of Pentagon involvement in terrorist operations. The radio goes silent for several seconds before Agent Williams responds. Major, that's not possible. Agent Williams, I'm a Navy combat medic with 6 years of experience supporting SEAL team operations. I know the difference between random terrorist activity and a coordinated attack involving American government officials. We need to treat this as a national security emergency, not just an airport shooting. Emergency medical teams arrive to transport Webb to Walter Reed Military Hospital, where his intelligence about the dirty bomb plot and Pentagon infiltration will be debriefed by counterterrorism specialists. The airport shooting that seemed like random violence was actually a carefully orchestrated diversion to allow Russian operatives to escape with a weapon of mass destruction. But because Dr. Emily Chen was in the right place at the right time with the right skills and experience, the attack that could have killed hundreds of thousands of Americans tomorrow will be prevented tonight. As Emily watches the medical evacuation helicopter disappear into the Washington, D.C. skyline, she realizes that her days as a civilian emergency medicine specialist have just ended. The Pentagon mole who betrayed Webb's operation is still out there. The Russian sleeper cell network that planned the dirty bomb attack extends far beyond the 4 operatives who escaped from the airport. And the only person who has the medical background to keep critical intelligence sources alive during the counterterrorism investigation that's about to unfold is the woman who thought she was just boarding a flight to Chicago. Dr. Emily Chen, Major, United States Navy Medical Corps, is about to be recalled to active duty for the most important mission of her career. Because sometimes the difference between American security and catastrophic terrorism is a combat medic who happens to be in the right place when everything goes wrong. Welcome to the human stories, where heroes don't always wear uniforms or carry weapons or announce their intentions. Sometimes they just carry medical supplies and hope they never have to use the skills that years of military service taught them. But when the moment comes, when death arrives without warning and national security hangs in the balance, they're ready. Because being prepared for the worst isn't paranoia, it's the responsibility that comes with having skills that can save lives when no one else can. And sometimes those skills are the only thing standing between American civilians and the kind of terrorist attack that changes history. Remember Dr. Emily Chen the next time you see someone whose professional background suggests capabilities they don't talk about. Someone whose briefcase contains equipment that seems unusual for their job. Someone whose calm response to emergencies suggests training that most people don't have. Because the most important victories in the war on terrorism happen quietly, in airport terminals and hospital emergency rooms, by people whose names will never appear in newspaper headlines but whose actions prevent headlines that would haunt America forever.